Work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, you guys can join in 402-464-5685. We got some FCS football on the brick and mortar, but you guys can always join in, use the streams, use the Starter Heyman text line. We got plenty of things to talk about. Things are looking good in Nebraska ball land as they get off another resounding win at home, make it 20 straight at the vault. The Husker men's team, that is, the dominance at home. Good morning, Pierson-El. Bring you in. How was the weekend, and how's it going on this Monday night?
It wasn't too bad, you know. I mean, we got a huge victory, upset that they're still not in, the top 25, but, it is what it is. They hate us because they ain't us, so it is what it is.
It is a bit shocking that Nebraska basketball last year I thought was enough to kind of give them the nod that this program is good enough, and I understand they lost to Texas A&M. But Texas A&M proved to be a very good team, pushing the number 1 seed Houston.
Mm-hmm.
This just looks like a continuation off that. So for them to get another huge win versus ranked 15 UCLA, and they're still not ranked, I don't know what they got to do. Unfortunately for them, they got to go on the road in Iowa. I think with a lot of these teams in the Big Ten in particular, to get yourselves up on that AP poll, it doesn't even matter if it's a crappy Big Ten team. You just got to go out and win one on the road. But your thoughts on their big win versus UCLA?
It was huge. Like I said, you're going to get to predominant, university who puts out basketball stars left and right, and you handle business, and that's exactly what they needed to do. It's definitely a huge step in the right direction. That they faced some other teams early in the season and didn't quite win, but I mean you've established you've beaten Creighton, you've beaten UCLA. You just got to keep the momentum, and hopefully things keep trending up.
Yeah, it's that part right there. You got to keep the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's the big challenge. They got another game tomorrow, and it's versus Iowa, so you should have the energy to go out there and beat them. They're not like a great team this year, but they're certainly better than last year. And again, it doesn't seem to really matter who you're playing on the road in the Big Ten. You got to bring your all. Otherwise, they're good enough to beat you. But it is a good chance. We'll go through some of the box score here in their win versus UCLA. Once again, kind of just an all-around game. There's nobody that really stuck out for Nebraska. Just going through here, if you're looking for total points, if I can even find it on the stat sheet here. There we go. So you got Bryce Williams. He gives you 16. And the thing about Bryce Williams, he was 2 for 12 on the night. He still gives you 16 points because he went 11 for 12 from the free throw line. Thing about great offensive players, even if they're not having a great night, they find a way to get to the stripe. You also got 12 from Morgan, 2 only from a Siege, and Wooster gives you 11. Burke gives you 4. Juwan Gary gives you 10. So you get the idea. Pretty much just all spread around again. The real thing for this one, though, was Nebraska's defense once again. Nebraska didn't score a field goal outside, for obviously not counting free throws, for the last 7 minutes of that second half. It was not like a pretty finish by any means. Nebraska was just making all their free throws. I understand that the defense, it's great you can make your free throws, but how much of an issue is that this offense still at times can really stall out?
I wouldn't say it's a huge issue. They're still, coming together, and for them to be, doing this well in a short period of time, things will get ironed out. You'll understand stuff. People get a lot more comfortable, or what's expected, or you have streaky nights and everything like that. So I'm not really concerned about it. You played not strong, you can say, or you didn't finish the game strong on the offensive side, but yet you still somehow got to the free throw line, yet you still found some way to slow them down, yet you still found a way to pull out a tough win when honestly your back's against the ropes. So I think that alone says a lot on even on an off night. They're still capable of pulling it out.
Yeah, it's huge for, I think, Nebraska. It's kind of welcome to the Pac-12 schools as well. Like, you gotta let UCLA feel that Big Ten PBA first time there.
For sure. There's not too many teams in the Big Ten that can, really match up with you or give you that type of push that some of these bigger, basketball schools can. It's a hit or miss. So, I mean, hopefully, this year is a strong year. That way we make a case for an even stronger push. But I mean, not to say that that we're not going to get tested, because I think we are. But the level and style of play that some of those other, colleges have or bring, or what they're known for, you only get that out of, maybe a handful of Big Ten schools.
Yeah, it is one where UCLA, despite being a Pac-12 school, actually plays a almost kind of Big Ten style, very fundamental, they really wanted to play through their big. They just kind of failed to. He only got 9 shots off the entire night for UCLA, their stretch 5. But they do like to utilize him. And versus Nebraska, we just kind of played their game a little bit better. They did a much better job on those weak side passes. They were doing a good job just setting up flare screens, which really it's simple when it works. And UCLA made it look simple a few times and how to break that Nebraska defense. But Nebraska was just consistent enough to where over time, again, you can win a game by multiple possessions by not scoring any field goals for 7 minutes. That's a hell of a statement. And it's also
a hell of a statement.
I mean, that's the biggest thing that saved this team is free throw shooting. But you did mention it's going to be tough for them to climb. And that, again, that's why it's so big for them to go out and beat Iowa and just any road game they can grab in the Big Ten, because the way it's shaping up right now in the AP top 25, the highest ranked Big Ten team is all the way at 13, and that's Illinois. And then you get Oregon at 15, Michigan State at 16, Purdue at 20, Michigan at 24. So you can kind of see where the AP poll thinks of the Big Ten. They got you at that 15, 13 for the best at Illinois.
You're good. You're at the cousins table. You're not at the little kids table. You're at the cousins table.
Yeah, they just don't quite see the Big Ten as an elite conference this year, and that's not going to change until some of these Big Ten schools get marquee wins over in Auburn, who Tennessee, Texas A&M. I don't know what everybody's schedule looks like, but that's what's going to take. And for Nebraska, there's a chance that doesn't happen, that the Big Ten really does just kind of continue to struggle in any of those big non-conference matchups, because most of these schools are in conference play now. So there's not a whole lot of big games left on the table outside of Big Ten matchups. I'd have to look and see who's got maybe an interesting non-con game, but it's pretty much up to Nebraska. Like, you're still not ranked. You got to win over UCLA. You got to win over Creighton. Yeah, you lost to Michigan State and St. Mary's, but those are quality
good teams.
Yeah,
I mean, they kind of equal each other out.
It's one of those things where, like, yes, it's a loss, but they're quality losses, so you think they wouldn't hurt you too bad. In the St. Mary's game, you only lost by 3. Michigan State, yeah, I can see how that one hurts you. You got throttled in that game, but that's it. That's the only 2 games. Otherwise, Nebraska has played pretty well against, I get it, a little bit of weaker schedule, but they do have some good wins in there, and they have been dominating in these wins. So, again, I don't know what they got to do. Defensively, you go to Ken Palm at the top 10 defense. I think they're right at 10. Offensively, that's where they drop. But still, if you're going to be up there with the top 10 defense by the analytics, it's hard for me to say.
But they've only played what, 15, 16 games?
Yeah, I mean, most schools are probably played around 14 games now because what is Nebraska 12-2, so 14.
So I mean, it's not like we acting like it's in the middle of the season. Like they're playing that well and doing this early. This is still early in the season by all means. So
early, but the Big Ten's tough, and the Big Ten's not slated well right now. That's the only problem because you are in the conference. Like it doesn't really matter because it's early, but at the same time, we've talked about this before. The way these rankings set up is kind of once you get this far into the season, even though it's still early, they've kind of slated where these conferences are at in terms of strength of schedule. And that's going to go into all of those analytics when they decide the 64 teams plus the NIT, because they're going to look at strength of schedule and the analytics. Like how big was your win against said team that was ranked this in terms of strengths of schedule? So they're just kind of at a spot right now where it is starting to set in stone in terms of how the strengths of the conferences are this year. That's my TED talk. That's what I got on the.
So I hear that, which the valid point. The Big Ten still necessarily hasn't shaken out. You can go through and comb and see. I guess out of the Big Ten teams, even with Illinois, what's their two best wins, and I guarantee you, our best wins, are up there with them.
Yeah, they are. You just got a Nebraska instead of the Michigan State Spartan logo. If I'm like, this is what's going to happen. Also, like you can't ever get rid of this because when you have 300 plus teams and all Division I basketball that are eligible to make March Madness, it's going to be impossible to get it perfectly right. And that's where you see the bias. Like the Nebraska logo has just never really meant anything in basketball. So when you're trying to go through these and you got hundreds of teams to pick through, you're going to likely go Illinois, Michigan State, Michigan. I know they sucked last year, but they've done it before you go ahead and circle Nebraska. But I will say, they get 60 votes, Nebraska, 62 votes. So they're
likable. They're climbing.
Yeah. Utah State was the last one in, and then it went Pittsburgh with 91, Arkansas and Nebraska both with 62, and then the drop off Baylor with 32 votes. So yeah, I mean, they are there. They keep winning games. They will be in the AP top 25, which is crazy. I mean, what would your guess be that Nebraska basketball is going to be top 25 before football ever does? It's starting with the Scott Frost era, because Riley did have a top 25 team. Or I guess Matt Rule did. Yeah, we did have it this year. Yeah, I forgot about that. After
nice try, though.
It was a nice try.
After the Colorado game, probably.
Yep, it was after Colorado, and then we beat up on some.
Man, you sounded like a hater today. You really thought you was going somewhere with that question, huh?
I did, and then I forgot. Hey, Nebraska football. At one point in time, we're looking pretty nice, and then we hit that midseason slide, and then obviously the number fell off by the name, but we picked it back up, beating Boston College. But that's where we're at in terms of college basketball. So yeah, there is a chance for them to be ranked. Won't be beating Nebraska football to it, but still an awesome opportunity. Are you surprised at all to see Nebraska basketball have this success?
No, because I mean, again, the coach has been here for a while. A lot of the kids that are in there, they understand what. At least the core group understands, what the expectation is. He's hit big on some additional pieces and whatnot, and we've seen him, definitely make strides and steps from year to year. And you can say this is probably his best assembled team, probably since he's been here.
Yeah, and Rink Mast isn't even on the court. I always wonder what that Rink will do.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, fan favorite, but you don't even talk about him. Like, I mean, you it'd be nice to have him here and there.
Yeah.
You still give him his flowers here and there, but it's who's out there right now. So I'm not shocked, but I like what I'm seeing or whatnot. It just has to be a continuation of being strong in the Big Ten, and that's the Big Ten holistically, not just us. The conference has to kind of get back to what it was with some of these basketball schools, or being taken a little bit more serious. And I think the stronger we compete and the stronger we continue to show up 2 years in a row with things and whatnot, you're gonna have to start answering that door and starting to have to give a little bit into what's going on out here, because everybody says the same thing when you come to Nebraska and you play in the vault. Something special, something serious, some magic in the air. And this year they have played better on the road, so building blocks.
Yeah, it's that part right there. And I will say it is good to see the schools like Michigan State have that success, even UCLA, that they're a new addition. Because the Big Ten, if you had another bad Michigan State year where that was similar to what Tom Izzo had last year, and you have the same Michigan squad that you had last year, you're really sitting there with like just about Illinois representing the Big Ten. And then Nebraska probably would have slid up and grabbed one of those spots because there'd be enough room for it. But not a good look if you only got two. So to see some of these like old powerhouses start the year good, it is good for the Big Ten. Not great when Nebraska has to play a buzzsaw Michigan State, but it is kind of good to see Tom Izzo and that program have that success again. Speaking of which, how much longer do you think Tom Izzo's got with Michigan State? Like, if this is a really good year or they make a deep run, does he think about retiring, or how many years does he got left? I thought last year was going to be the year, but he said, hell no, we're not doing that. And he was right, because they're on a great run right now.
Well, then he's not, at least a few more years. I don't think he's close to it. He still has the same love and passion. He still recruits. He still gets, good people in there or whatnot. It's more of is this going to be a Kentucky type thing where Michigan State wants to move on type situation? I think that might happen before, he decides to step away, unless, some unseen health, hopefully not, knock on wood if you're with me. But I mean, for the love of the game, it's still there. The passion is still there. He still gets the players he wants. He still, have a competitive team, year in and year out. So, I mean, I don't got him walking away. You just seen, Magic came out talking about unlimited, NIL money and whatnot. So, he's backed by the big dog. So now he's going to really make a run and kind of, hopefully catch up or get to the same level, maybe as what Calipari was at Kentucky and some of those older teams and their success that they had.
Yeah, and he is only 69. I just looked it up, and I say only because the head basketball coaches seem to stick in the game a lot longer.
Coach K was a coach. Coach K was there for forever.
Yeah, like they stick around, and for some reason, head coaches seem to like get to the late 70s. Then they're like, all right, I'll take the last 12 years, and then I'll hang out, even though I've just coached basketball their entire life. Speaking of coaches, though, great revenge tour for Michigan State and the Spartans. But I will say, with Fred Hoiberg, it was a really slow start. How good of a hire was this for Nebraska? I know it's taken a lot longer, but again, I think you have to look at the state of programs, and Nebraska was right to stick by him.
Yeah,
right now, looking through it, how good of a hire?
I think they learned their lesson with we know who.
Yeah,
you don't want to get burned on two fronts of understanding things and whatnot. And he was in there talking to Wright, explaining his vision and what he had done. And each year it wasn't necessarily a step back. Each year, you got better and better, and the things that you might have pointed out in year one, you didn't point those out in year two. The things that you might have pointed out in year two, year three, you didn't really point those things out. So each year, it was kind of a different change, not in a bad way. So, I mean, I think when you kind of get that and whatnot, you have to kind of give it, some love, time, and affection to kind of let things grow and let, the coach get in his groove. Again, it's not easy to recruit, Nebraska. And I love the place and everything like that. But compared to some of these other places and whatnot, if you putting out powerhouses, if you one and done, or if you, in the SEC for basketball or ACC for basketball and everything like that, it's a lot, it's probably a lot easier to get things done or whatnot. So for us to be here in the Midwest and everything like that, for him still to go out and find gems, still go out and, you know, bring pieces in year to year, you know, to have stuff situated. I mean, he's done a hell of a job.
Yeah, and it's that part. Just the vision, the kind of, you can even at times change his vision. I think this is probably a much more defensive minded team than you ever thought. I mean, especially earlier on, when you kind of started getting the guys you wanted, you're looking at like, man, you got the McGowan's brothers. You're like, this could be a really high flying offense. And actually, it was still the strength of the defense, and he kind of bit onto that with that success in the second half of the season. And now we see the version of Nebraska basketball there is today, where you just got giants all over the court. So yeah,
just imagine what's the kid that went second round after his freshman year. Just imagine just imagine if he would have stayed, you know, 2 years, 3 years, what things would have been in the team around. He would have had Tamanaga. You know, last year's team, you know, would have really put on a fit. You know, so I mean, it's been obstacles, you know. I mean, at least he's getting people, you know, to the next level and whatnot. Not to say that, you know, Miles wasn't or whatnot. It just looks different.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting better. That's the best part. Like, really, year by year, there is just like, yep, got better. I mean, we started with Banks. I don't know if everybody remembers Banks. Great football player for Nebraska. Was not that on the basketball court. I mean, it was. At one point in time, we're playing offensive linemen for Husker basketball just to get some bodies. And now we're sitting out there with a healthy roster, and you got 7-foot Braxton Mia. Not why am I forgetting the first name of Banks? He ended up transferring over to Rice. Don't know where his career's at now. But I'll never forget it. It was just unforgettable moment watching that guy from the football team. Out of all the players and all the athletes on campus, the offensive lineman apparently is the guy to go sign up and get him in a basketball jersey.
Big bruiser. Got to get in there.
Yeah, it didn't work for him. I think he had 0 rebounds. I think he was 0 for 2 from the free throw line as well, to that injury to insult, and 0 assists and 1 turnover. So he did get on the stat sheet. But shout out Banks. That'll always be one of my more funny Husker moments, and shows you the length that Fred Hoiberg's really gone with that Husker basketball program. All right, with that being said, we'll throw it to break. We do got the official NFL playoff picture set. It is set in stone. Week 18 is over. And my Chicago Bears ended the season with a win. I had to sprinkle that in there because I haven't been able to do that ever since the Commanders' Hail Mary. So we'll throw it to break. We'll talk NFL on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Don't punt hour.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CR-FR Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CR-F Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CR-F 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today. Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arth on the ones and twos. As always, we got the host, DeMornay Pierson-El, streaming in. You guys can always join in using the Starter Heyman text line or any of the streams. All right, let's switch it over. We got NFL playoff picture officially set. In the first round in the AFC, obviously your Chiefs, they get the bye. Texans, Chargers, Ravens, Steelers, Bills, Broncos. In the NFC, Lions, they get the bye. And you got Rams, Vikings, you got the Buccaneers, Commanders, and you got the Eagles and the Packers. I'll let you pick. Which one of these intrigues you the most?
I can tell you which one that makes me the nervous the most.
Commanders, Buccaneers?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm excited for that one, though. I think that one's going to be
Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans at it again. The rivalry survives.
It's so good.
No, I think that the Rams and the Vikings. I think that'll be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, that'd be brutal for the Vikings to. You think your season's over, then you're back to we're it, and then week 18 you get absolutely destroyed by the Lions.
That's just missed opportunities, though. They were right. They were right then and there.
Yeah, that is fair.
Like you get you get 2 of those touchdowns or 1 of those touchdowns that he overthrows. And then the juice and the energy is back. You know what I mean? So, but other than that, I think the game. The one honestly I think most intrigued is Harbaugh and
Harbaugh Texas Chargers.
Yes,
that's the. I was gonna say that's the other one. Jim Harbaugh. Oh, I wish we would have hired him. I wish we would have hired him so bad. God, we dropped the ball on that. The Chargers look awesome this year in year 1 with Jim Harbaugh. I know it's been up and down at times, but
I think that is
squad.
I think that is going to be a physical game. The Texans, they've kind of spiraled or slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, in Houston,
but they got people that are hurt. Like they're not even they're not fully loaded, So I'm like, I don't know, but Harbaugh for whatever reason, like he's gonna have his guys ready, and that's got to the way that Harbaugh is coaching those guys and having those guys. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of the year Joe Burrow and the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Like that's the team that makes you nervous. That's the team I'm not too sure a lot of people want to kind of see in postseason. I know they're boring. I know they're basic or whatnot, but they get the job done.
Yeah. Speaking of guys who get the job done, this one, I take it back. This is probably the one I want to watch the most by far because these guys just hate each other. And you get a playoff matchup. You got the Ravens and Steelers.
That's the one that scares me the most.
Yeah, I'm
tired of the narrative of Lamar. I don't think he gets enough credit from a lot of people that he should. I honestly like the way that not as bad anymore, but he gets the Shador treatment with just it's always something. It's always nitpicking something. And I'm not saying Shador is the best ever and everything like that, but just understand, like I understand people, hate things, hate the game or whatnot, but realize, what he's doing. You said he couldn't pass the ball. Well, he's been doing that. He got over 40 touchdowns. He's got over 4,000 yards and under 5 interceptions. That's crazy. Regardless of if he has 2 MVPs or not, he's playing out of his mind, honestly, with really no true number 1 receiver. You can say what you want to say about Derrick Henry or whatnot. People are stacking the box. That has nothing to do with Lamar. Lamar still hasn't, really ran or taken off as much as he have, and yet he still almost has 1,000 yards rushing. And still under, I think, 10 touchdowns rushing this year. And that's still crazy. And they're still winning.
Yeah. Ravens are legit. I don't know what it is about Lamar. Like I remember because he had that game, he finally broke 500 passing yards. Then everyone's like, just a fluke. And then he had 400 passing yards on top of 100 rushing yards. Like
he's an NFL quarterback. Like, I mean, not everybody necessarily does that or continues to do that.
Nobody does that. Like nobody does it. Nobody. He's one of his own. That's why he's got the MVPs. And it's not just the eye test that loves him. Like if you go watch him, you're gonna see like this.
How can you hate him?
Numbers.
Like, how can you not like him?
You're a Steeler. I mean, that's probably it. Like the people that hate Lamar Jackson, I know, are all Steeler fans. Like, and that makes sense. That's a rival, and that's why if I'm the Ravens, I'm pissed. Like that's.
You didn't want to see.
I would rather play anybody else.
They probably play Lamar and the Ravens the best. I'm not gonna lie.
Every time they do. That's why that's just brutal draw for the Ravens to get the Steelers.
But it's back in the bank, which will be good. They'll wear their all black uniforms.
Yeah, and those are clean. You can't deny it.
You can't.
Best unis in the league. You might argue.
You pair that up with the Steelers struggling and everything like that. It's the Ravens defense is going to step up. I don't expect anything to drastically change for the Steelers organization. You just hope that defense doesn't wreck the game enough to give the offense, a little bit more power. And Lamar have a bad game.
Yeah, and you just hope the play calling is in Lamar Jackson's favor.
For sure.
But whatever reason, it's like the Ravens in the playoffs, It always falls apart there. They can have like
I
great.
wouldn't say that. I mean, it's always the second or third round. Typically, the first round they're fine.
They just haven't had a big moment yet. Like the Bengals with Joe Burrow, like they have yet to have one of those iconic moments where they either beat the Bills, they beat the Chiefs, or beat just whoever's there. They just they haven't made a deep one yet. Is one, and for how great Lamar Jackson is, like for me, that's what it's going to take for him, because Brock Purdy made that run right away, and it kind of got everybody off his back, and also just being Mr. Irrelevant. Lamar's got to make a deep run, because when you're playing the quarterback, it doesn't matter if it's the defenses, if it's the coaching, you're the quarterback. It's going to be your fault that you never won. So until he does that, he won't get the full respect he deserves. Who do you got for the MVP this year?
Lamar. It ain't close.
I do too. I want to ask that because I was the way we're talking.
Don't get me wrong. What both guys have been doing, is astronomical. They're both having great seasons. Lamar was the MVP last year, and he shattered those records. So I get Josh Allen, doesn't have a number one receiver as well. I get that, but Lamar's been doing that honestly since he probably got in the league. So I mean, you can't use that excuse, and then when it comes to the other one, like you discredit it. So I mean, the most valuable player, I think is that I understand, the Bills are the only one to beat, the Chiefs and everything like that. They do that every year and get into the playoffs and choke. So like that's not a bargaining chip this year. Like we've seen, the Bills and Josh Allen and go at Mahomes and win, loss, draw. It doesn't count, until once you get to the postseason. So I mean, what Lamar has done is stat wise, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I would say it's more closer to probably Joe Burrow and him, but because Joe Burrow was on a bad team, not a bad team, but because they weren't as successful.
Bad defense. There's a bad defense.
I didn't want to say it. You said it.
The defense.
You said it. I mean, the defensive coordinator got fired today too. So
yeah, it was bad. I think if you're, I don't know what you would call towards the bottom of the league, but most would call that not good. So you're somewhere between not good and bad.
Burrow probably won't get it because his team necessarily wasn't getting it. But I mean, is it a team thing or is it an individual thing? I mean, and when you look at certain individual stats, Mahomes is. I mean, not Mahomes. Burrow is ahead. Of a lot of other people. So any one of those two, I would be fine. I think Josh Allen is deserving of it, just not this year. And I'll leave it at that.
Does Goff's name deserve to be floated out there?
I wouldn't be mad at that.
If you actually look at his stats, again, a lot of it is the offense isn't nearly predicated on him because they have such a good run game. But he's efficient when he does.
If he had a better game last night,
yeah,
I think that kind of took the took the sales out of it.
And he had that one high interception game that. When you're talking about an MVP, that'll really throw off the ratio. Otherwise, he was dominating in that touchdown.
And it's the last showing. People are, well, what have you done lately and everything like that. The fact that Josh Allen didn't play in the last game, that hurts. The fact that Lamar won his conference and everything like that, and put on a show without really trying. It makes it hard.
Yeah, I think I'd go Lamar 1. I'd probably go Burrow 2. I mean, it's still phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Like it's brutal that the Bengals didn't make the playoffs.
Who's your offensive MVP though?
You almost kind of got to look at guys like Saquon and Derrick Henry. I mean, their years are pretty. Like Derrick Henry's numbers are pretty nuts.
Saquon,
I'm probably gonna go
Jamar Chase.
Yeah. You know what? Give me Jamar Chase. I'm between Jamar Chase and Derrick Henry. I'd have to look at Saquon's stats to see who's better between those two backs.
Saquon, I think. Honestly, the Eagles messed it up for Saquon. If you go and look at what Jalen Hurts has, I think Jalen Hurts has 14 touchdowns. You telling me 4 of those touchdowns you couldn't give to Saquon to have 2,000 yards, and he probably would have had 20 touchdowns, and it would have been a done deal. But you risked your quarterback on 1 and 2 yard sneaks and pat his stats when he doesn't get the record, which is crazy. He's tied for first, I think, for touchdowns. He leads in rushing, and it's just like you had one job, Philadelphia. You had one job, and you couldn't get it done. So, any one of those two, honestly, like I would flip a coin, and whoever it lands on, I would be happy with it because both of them had excellent seasons.
Yeah, I like that too. Jamar Chase, I think.
Triple Crown. It's only been done 8 other times outside of now. That's not, 17 touchdowns, over 1,700 yards.
He's such a game breaker, though. I mean, he really is. He might be worthy of a Triple Crown. I got it. Who's the best? Now that we're done, officially done with the regular season, who's the best wide receiver in the league?
This year?
Yeah, this year. Just based off this year and years prior. Who do you think's the best?
Well, if you go years prior, then that's going to be hard. Who I have my favorites because of certain situations. Both of them are still definitely top 5 with potential or whatnot.
You still think Adams though is top dog?
It's not close. Quarterback situation, the Jets were a dumpster fire, but he still looked way better than he was with the Raiders, with a different quarterback. But this year, just pure realistic, I would say Jamar probably won.
Jefferson too.
I would go Jefferson too. I like Scary Terry this year. I like him.
I did too. I don't know if I put him three, but I like
Scary. Him. St. Brown was still up there. He was still. Getting things done.
Mike Evans is always Mike Evans. I always
longevity is key.
Yeah, he's just like always good.
AJ Brown. I mean, I know he had a quiet year, but he's still dominant. You had Saquon in the backfield, so I think the whole offense kind of gave up a piece of their food to Saquon, and that's not his fault or anything like that.
Where's CeeDee Lamb in this? Because he just kind of like it's not like he had same
situation. Quarterback.
He tapped out this year. Yeah.
Quarterback.
There's times this year though where I will say, even when Dak was healthy, the team just wasn't playing well. He was checking out when there was still plenty of season left. So I don't know where I'm at with CD. If that was like just an effort thing or a bad year from him. But
I think it was a lot of distractions coming into it, the whole contract thing and everything like that.
Yeah, Jerry Jones.
He got in late. He got in late, the training camp and kind of getting in stuff. And then you throw in Jerry shenanigans with that and whatnot, and stuff with the coaches, stuff with play calling. Every week it was something. So I'm not, at some point in time, enough is enough. And I mean, Micah Parsons checked out too. You can't just say, him. You know what I mean? So I'm not putting all of that on him. He's been in a difficult situation. For many years they've had, awesome teams the past 2 years outside of this that really should have done something and you didn't. So frustration could have played a part in it. Then you get, the Dak situation where, the guy that's throwing you the ball goes out and it's, the offense looks completely different. But he's definitely a top 10 guy.
Yeah, still top 10. I'm just not sure where he's at in that mix. There's just anybody on the Cowboys, just an awful year. Maybe if we're lucky, I can have Jerry Jones. I'm sure he'll kindly explain to me why the Cowboys really just struggled all year. They're better than my Bears, but it was a tough year for the Cowboys to remember, considering you were the number 1 offense last year. To have the season they had this year, it's just a fall from heaven.
Did you happen to see that message I sent you about?
I couldn't. It wouldn't load. I don't know what. It won't load for me. So, if you can explain it to me right now, that'd be great.
So the Giants need a quarterback, right? They're sitting there at 3, maybe.
Yeah. I
Potentially, you might not get your 1 or 2 guy. Well, with that being said, I think it's Joe Milton. Joe Milton is on a rookie contract, 4 years tied. So even with you dishing out your money to Daniel Jones, I think, which would be smart probably for them, and honestly, the Cleveland Browns, they can do the same situation. Trade trade for the quarterback who played last night. He has a high ceiling. The New York Giants are in a conference where every quarterback in there is mobile, and you're the one team that don't have a mobile quarterback. So you trade, for New England's backup quarterback. That takes the pressure off of whoever comes in there, and we don't have a Washington situation with Kirk Cousins and RG3 type situation again.
Mm-hmm.
You get out ahead of it. The New York Giants probably give up one of their receivers, either Wandale, Hyatt, Slayton, or whatever, because the Patriots need receivers. They need more offensive weapons and everything like that. So they trade for a quarterback for draft picks and whatnot. I don't know what picks. I don't get into the picks and everything like that. And the Giants ended up taking Genty with the fourth pick, which he should definitely still be there. That feels, I'm not saying feels, but that would be a situation to where you have another primetime running back who showed he can, take the load and everything like that.
Yeah, you fix your culture.
He's similar to what kind of what Saquon was doing with, low center of gravity, bouncing off, exciting. So now you have an
great
exciting
receiving
running
back as well. Doesn't drop the ball.
You have an exciting running back. You have an explosive quarterback to keep up with Jalen Daniels in DC, to keep up with, you can say what you want to. Dak Prescott still gets it done.
Yeah, it's good. Dak gets a bad rep. He really does. Just because he's on the Cowboys. Dak is a good quarterback.
And we'll leave it at that. He's a good quarterback. So
not elite. I said good.
So with that, like I said, I don't know if you get Shador. I don't know if you get Cam Ward, because there are some other people in front of you that honestly might get that. Same thing with Cleveland. If Cleveland really wanted to, they know what situation with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has been hurt. You can trade back for higher picks. You can hit what the Bears did a little bit for a team who wants to come up and everything like that, or trade New England or whatever to get them whoever they want or whatever. You again get the backup quarterback. He shows promise. He's not necessarily a rookie. He sat for a year, 2 years. He still understands this. He's come in the game and has played. So you're not necessarily getting a Caleb Williams situation to where you just throwing him in there. And you can still probably draft Genty.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to give up Jerry Jeudy or something like that. I don't know if they necessarily want to do that or whatnot. But
you almost have to, though, right? You're not. What are you going to do with him if you keep him? If you got to pull something off here, you got to be willing to take some losses. And if Jerry Judy's the price to pay
for you to get a mobile quarterback, which honestly you can emulate. Even if you get Genty, and I'm not saying that, it's Lamar and Derrick Henry, but you have that type of, 1-2 punch to where you got a guy that can scramble around, extend plays, run if he has to. And when he was coming out, Milton had the strongest arm out of all quarterbacks. And the only reason why he went so late is I think he had a leg injury late in the season or something like that. And that was the reason why, he fell. So the ceiling is high for that. And, you can get Genty if you really want to help out your running back situation, because, Chubb has had a lot of lower leg injuries and you're going to continue to run him. I hope he doesn't have any more, but the bottom of the line, the NFL, is a 100% injury rate, speaking from experience. So,
yeah. And the thing that scares me, if I'm the Browns, it's the same knee. It's the same knee that exploded when he played for Georgia. That happened. The last really bad injury he had. It was that exact same leg. One more of those, his career. There's no way. He could just have those genes. We've seen that where people just can heal. Yeah, some people just find ways to heal over and over and seem to come back just the way they left. He might be one of those guys, but there's just a chance that it's going to happen more often now.
You're in the right situation to make some things happen. And I've already seen, reports talking about people checking in. If New England, was a betting man to take the pressure off of your quarterback moving forward, like I said, you don't have a Robert Griffin and Kirk Cousins situation to where, You know, your replacement is waiting on your downfall. And I'm not saying, you know, Milton is doing that or whatnot, but he definitely brings the game. He definitely brings something to the game that I think the NFL is definitely moving forward to, and that's just, you know, a mobile, elusive quarterback. So he can be a hot commodity, and he's still on a rookie deal, so you're getting him for cheap. Now, what's going to be his asking price would be the question that New England's going to want.
Yeah. All right, we got to wrap things up here. I'll ask you this final thing. I'll ask you here. What was your biggest surprise of the regular season, of the official 2024-25 NFL regular season? What's the biggest surprise out of it all?
Kirk Cousins getting paid $100 million.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then I'll add on to that. Kirk Cousins is going to get paid $1 million or $100 million, and then them drafting a quarterback on top of it, cherry on top.
You know, that's the biggest surprise. I wouldn't have never thought that would have happened after an Achilles. You know, that's the new ACL career injuring, you know, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and man, what a crazy ride. And well, now you're sitting there and the Commanders are in the playoffs. So it all worked out anyways. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep some replays going for you guys throughout Ticket Weeknights. Marty Pierson-El, appreciate the time as always. We'll do it again tomorrow.